Fabulous. Especially if you're new here, I want to welcome you and say I hope you'll feel right at home very quickly. We're going to do a total of 10 of these lunches this semester. And what we do is we serve the food until about 5 till. We're going to take a break for about 5 or 6 minutes. I'm going to do a very short presentation. And then we will, anybody that hasn't eaten, we'll let you go through the line. And we'll let you go first, and then we'll let people go back for seconds. So we have seconds still? We do? Okay. So we're going to take a quick break here, share a few things, and then we're going to have seconds. I'm going to pray for us. Let's quiet down a second. Almighty God, I give you thanks for the beauty of this day and for food in a world where so many are hungry, and for the multiplicity of the nations that is represented in this room. I thank you for everyone's presence here, and we ask your blessing. Amen. I'm going to be talking just very briefly about some passages in the New Testament, and I'm calling this series of short talks First Meetings with Jesus. You can tell an awful lot about a couple or two friends by how they first met. You know, if you're dating somebody, you think back, what did we do on our first date? That tells you a lot about a person, a first date. A lot rides on that. So first meetings are very important. And we know that the gospel writers who told the story of Jesus were intrigued by the first meetings that Jesus had with a great variety of people that he met, because they filled the gospel accounts with these stories. There's a whole bunch of them. Each week I'm just going to take one very short and tell you what I see in it. But the first thing I want you to notice is that the gospel stories are full of these first meetings where Jesus meets someone for the very first time, and you can tell a lot about the person and about Jesus by this very, very small encounter. Today we're just going to read 2 verses. I also want to say we are reading the Word of God in several different languages today. It is one of the greatest things about this lunch is that we have folks from all over the world represented here. When you came in, you saw we have a map of the world up, and we have a bunch of little pins. And if you're an international student, yeah, I'm busy right now too. If you're an international student, we want to take one of those little pins and stick it in you. I'm just kidding. We're going to have you stick it in the board where you're from, so we can see people from where people are coming here from all over the world. Okay. The passage we're going to look at is from the Gospel of Matthew, and I'm going to ask several students to read it for me. Okay. Where's Brandy? Brandy, I think I can just pass you the microphone. Brandy's going to read it in Spanish.
Después de estas cosas salió y vio a un publicano llamado Levi, sentado al banco de los tributos públicos, y le dijo, sígueme. Y dejándolo todo, se levantó y le siguió.
Thank you. And then I had a student read in Chinese.
"这事以后，耶稣出去，看见一个税吏，名叫利莫，坐在税关上，就对他说：‘你跟从我来。’他就撇下所有的，起来跟从了耶稣。”
And then I had a student in Sanlis from Sri Lanka.
ඉන්පසු ජේසුන් වහන්සේ පිටතට ගොස් තම පදු ප්‍රදර්ශන කුටිය ඉඳගෙන ලෙවී නමින් පදු එකතුව දැක්කා. මා සමග එන්න කියා ජේසු ඔහුට කතා කොට නැගිට සියල්ල අතහැර උන්වහන්සේ අනුව ගියා.
Thank you. And I have a student from Germany. It's not really from Germany.
Und danach ging er hinaus und sah einen Sohn mit Namen Levi und so sitzen und sprach zu ihm, folge mit nach. Und er verließ alles, stand auf und folgte ihm nach.
Very good. He's actually from Pineville. And who's going to read it in English for me?
After this, he went out and saw a tax collector named Levi sitting at the tax office. And he said to him, "Follow me." And he left everything and rose and followed him.
Thank you. What's powerful about that is that the Word of God speaks across all of the cultural barriers and the language barriers and the borders that we make. Let's give those guys a hand, okay? Very quickly, I'm going to show you a couple of things that I noticed. In this story, Jesus approaches a man whose name is Matthew. In Hebrew, it's Levi. And Levi was a tax collector. And you probably know that at that time, the tax collectors were hated because they were known to be extortionists. They would take the money that was supposed to be the tax paid to Rome, and they would say, 9 for Rome, 1 for me, 9 for Rome, 1 for me. They would keep the money. They were extortionists. Worse than that, they were Jewish. In this case, Levi was Jewish, and so when his people would come to him to pay their tax, he would take the money from them, give some to the Romans and keep some to himself. So tax collectors were generally hated. But Jesus comes to Matthew, and the Gospels say that Matthew was at his table. In other words, he was actually taking the money, counting it. He had the money around him. He had the accounts. Everything was right there in front of him. All of his sin, if you will, was laid out in public and visible to anyone who could see it. And Jesus comes up to him, walks right there and catches him in the act. And what this reminds me of is I have a son who's 17, John, whose room, I know some of you guys are like this, I know. His room is a pigsty. It is just clothes everywhere, his books, he walks in, he just throws his knapsack on the ground. Food, I pick up shirts, there's food under it. He has a cat, he keeps in his room, his litter box is dirty. I mean, it's just, so I walk in and I lose my temper with him. I say, John, darn it all. That's not what I say, but I say, your room is a dang pigsty. Get really angry at him. Well, Jesus could well have walked up to Matthew with his life laid out there in front of him, with the money that he was stealing. And he could have said to Matthew, your life is a pigsty. But the amazing thing about the story is that he doesn't. And this is what the story tells me about Jesus right away. Is that he walks into Matthew's life, he sees the mess of his life, and instead of judging him, which he could have rightly done, called down judgment on it, instead of that, he just sees it and he says, come, follow me. And the amazing thing is Matthew gets up and he leaves all the mess of his life and follows Christ. Amazing story. It's very short. It's 2 verses. So that's to say that Christ meets us in the mess of our lives, all sorts of mess, and doesn't pronounce judgment on us. He calls us to come and follow. He did that then, and he still does that today, which is fantastic. Thank you all for listening, for being here. We are going to serve. We have a few people that have not eaten. As soon as they go through the line, we have seconds. We'll serve seconds. We have more desserts I can see. If you would like to pick up a copy of the Bible in Spanish or Chinese or English, I have copies as you go out the door. Thank you for coming. Bye.